So let us start our third session of Substance Painter. Today we will be learning how to bake mesh maps and how to create stickers. We will be specially looking at how to bake ID maps for hard surface texturing and how to create stickers on walls and on shirts. That we will see today. So let us get started. I have already provided the files. So this is the folder that I have provided. So let me open this mesh file inside Maya and see exactly how things work. Firstly, let us see the materials that this thing is using right now. All of these meshes are using the same material. That is why it will create one texture set, which is exactly what we want. We want to cover all the colors inside one texture set. We will be looking how to create multiple texture sets in a moment. All of these meshes are using one material, and the name of the material is Lambert 2. So let me demonstrate how that works. Right now, if I export this thing, export selection, desktop, file, select the mesh. You guys will see that the name of the texture set is Lambert 2 because we have used the material Lambert 2 for all of these guys. Now all of these pieces, I have separated this whole building into separate pieces, and all of these pieces will become one color inside the ID map. So all of these pieces will get one color in the ID map. You guys must know how to separate this. Extract and combine tool will be used. I think you guys will know how to use that. We have got many pieces here. So the first thing that we want to do to create ID is duplicate this thing. Duplicate the whole folder. Then we will get two groups. Rename the first one underscore low and rename the upper one underscore high, HIGH. Now what we need to do is we need to rename all of these pieces low, and the spelling must be correct, underscore LOW. We copy this and paste this suffix to all of those pieces. Paste, hang on. Do this for all of the pieces. Paste, paste. We are adding the same suffix to all of those pieces. This is important. This is done. Now we will do the same thing to the high mesh, but this time with the suffix high. This is almost done. Okay, let us check now whether it works or not. So we've got our low mesh, we have got our high mesh with the suffix high and low applied. Now what we need to do is we first export the low mesh. Select the low mesh only, file, export selection. Rename this house low. So this will be the painting mesh, and this one will be used for baking the ID. House high. Okay, we have exported our two mesh. Let us create a new file. File new, select the mesh. We will select the low mesh. This is important. House low. Then set this to 2K, OpenGL normal, uncheck this, then all of this looks fine, press OK, discard. So let us check. We've got our texture set Lambert 2, and let us get started to bake the map. As I have said before, there are three main modes, one for baking ID, one for painting, one for rendering. We will need to go here, bake, fill. Bake shortcut is F8. Okay, now we have come to our baking window. Right now the first thing that we want to bake is only ID. So let me select only the ID. We have got, this is selected. go to this Lambert 2, then we will get access to all these stuffs. Firstly, let us select the resolution to use for baking the map. Let us set it to 2K, the resolution of the baked map. Then this is important, this need to be unchecked, and this is where we assign our high definition mesh which we created. Let me zoom on it a little bit. It's written high definition mesh, and this is the button we click. Then we select our high resolution mesh, house high, open. This is done. Now the next thing we need to do is, we can keep all of this at default. 0.01 is fine. This one is also fine, 0.01. The settings that we need to change is this one, match. Change it from always to by mesh name. And these are the suffix that we have added, low and high. The spelling need to match. The spelling need to match exactly. Only then it will work properly. So we have matched low and high. As we have created here, the low and high, they need to match exactly. Okay. Now let us get started with baking. So we have set it to by mesh name, and this is low high. Okay. Now let us go to the ID setting. Click here. Then you will find options for baking type. What we need to set is mesh ID polygroups. Let me zoom on it. We click on ID, then we come here, color source, change it to mesh ID polygroup. Then everything is set, I think. Let us try. Bake selected textures. Okay, we have got our ID just like that. It's very simple and fast. Let us check. There you go, we've got our ID map, clean and ready for texturing. Okay, now let us learn how to create ID for multiple texture sets. This is only one texture set, right? Now let us learn how to create ID for multiple texture set. Let's close this. Let me import. Let me go to that folder. Where is that project folder? Here, yes, train mesh. Let me import this one now. New file, train mesh. I have used three texture sets here. Let me show. If you guys are getting this kind of black artifact, you can do one thing, current camera, this here, then go to attribute editor and change this one, near clip plane. It is right now set to 0.1 millimeter. Set it to something like 10 centimeter. It should be fine. Then those black artifacts will be gone. Okay, let me show here. I'm splitting this train texture into three texture sets. One for the lower engine, one for the upper engine, and one for the window. Now let us see how to set this up to create ID. We will need to, the process is similar, but little different. So we will be needing ID just for two texture sets, for the lower and higher. We will not be needing any ID for this glass. So this is how we will do. We will duplicate the lower engine and we will duplicate the upper engine. Rename this high. Do the same thing here, high. So these two guys will be the high mesh for baking ID, and this one will be for painting. Right, low here, lower engine. Now we will need to add this suffix to all of these pieces. So these are all the different pieces that I have separated for creating different colors of ID. All of these pieces will get one color in the ID map. Upper engine का भी है separated, देखो. हाँ हाँ, उसको भी rename करेंगे. पहले ये नीचे वाला कर लेते हैं. Okay, let me do the same thing that I previously did. Copy and paste the suffix. Okay, this looks fine. Now let us take care of the high stuff. This is very important to do it correctly, otherwise the ID map will be messed up. The spelling need to match exactly, and we cannot forget to add this suffix to any of them. All of them must be added the same suffix. Okay, this is done. Now the engine low. Okay, let me check. High isn't done. High for upper engine isn't done. Let's do that too. Okay, high is done, low is done, high is done, low is done. Yes. Now this is how we export the low mesh. Since we are making ID for only 2 maps, firstly we will select all of the texture groups. For these 3 groups to be applied different texture sets, they need to be applied different materials. Let me hide these 2 things first. So these are the original 3 groups, right, which will be made 3 texture groups. All these 3 groups need to be applied different materials. Each group meshes need to have the same material. As you guys can see here, I have applied the same material to all of these meshes, lower engine. This is important. All of these pieces need to be applied the same material. The same thing here. All of these pieces are applied the same material, which is upper engine. And this is glass window, just one mesh. Now let us first export the painting mesh. So we will select this, lower engine, upper engine, and the window glass. Then file, export selection. This will be train engine low. Export. Then we will export the high meshes now. Select the lower high and select the upper high. Since there is no group for window, just skip it. So we have selected our high mesh, export selection, train engine high. Export. Now if we have done our things properly, it should work correctly. Let us try. What we are importing? On the desktop, yes. Train engine low. Open. OpenGL. Uncheck. Okay. We have got our low mesh. Now let us try baking the ID. We cannot see that mode. Create a fill layer. Then we will have this baking. The texture sets, as you guys can see, we have got 3 texture sets. Let me uncheck this glass. So we've got lower engine, upper engine. The first map that we will be baking is only the ID. So deselect all the other maps. Select only the ID. Same thing for the lower one. Okay. We are baking ID for the upper engine, ID for the lower engine. Then go to this upper engine. Then we will get access to these stuffs. Select the resolution to 2K. Then this one, high definition mesh. We apply the high definition mesh here. Train engine high. Then this one, match. It is set to always. Set it to by mesh name. And this suffix need to match exactly. Okay, this is done. Then go to ID. Select mesh ID polygroup. then hue shift. Okay, everything is set. Let us try now. Bake. We have baked for all the selected texture sets. Since we have selected bake selected textures, if we had selected bake upper engine, it would have baked only for the upper engine. So it is important that you select bake selected texture, which will bake it for all the texture sets. So this must be done. Let us check. ID. Yes, it is perfectly done. So we've got our mesh ID. It is ready for texturing. Now let us bake our other maps. Let us go back, baking window. Now we will select this glass 2. We will be baking, no need ID, no need thickness. Same thing for the lower engine. Since there is no normal here, world space normal, ID unselect, ambient occlusion, curvature, position. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4 maps that are left to bake. Ambient occlusion, curvature, position. Let us check this, this, and this. Okay. Baking resolution is already set to 2K.
Bake selected textures.
If everything is done correctly, we should get perfect maps. Okay, let us check. ID is already done. World space normal looks perfect. Curvature looks perfect. Position perfect. Everything has baked perfectly. Where is the ID? Yes. So that's how we bake mesh maps inside Substance Painter. It's really fast and really easy.
Now we will learn how to create stickers,
which will be really useful for painting posters and for painting logos on the top of shirts. We will be using the house glue. So let us paste some posters here. I will import the maps, which I have already provided. They can be found inside stickers. So let us paint these 2 posters. This texture needs to be a square. It cannot be a rectangle. It needs to be square, and it needs to be created a mask. As you guys can see here, this is a square texture with rectangle poster, and this is the mask. So now let us apply this on this wall. For that, file, import resources. Then we select these 3 these 3 maps. Now this portion is important. These 2 guys are textures, but this one is alpha. This one need to be set to alpha. Only then it will work correctly. Then this need to be set to current project, import. Okay, Photoshop has launched. All of these are squares, as you guys can see. So they need to be square, and it need to have an alpha mask. We will use a paint layer here. We have created a paint layer. Alpha. This section we will apply the alpha. So this is the alpha, which is already applied. We can also apply by dragging and dropping on it. Alpha is applied. Now we need to apply the color. Let us paste this one. This will go inside the base color. And we can specify the height, which we will not be using here. We can use if you like. Let us try. Roughness will be high and metallic 0. We do not need normal. Okay, let us try now. Yes, it's perfectly working. So that's how we paste stuffs. Let us paste another texture here. This is done. Let me increase the resolution of this texture set. Where is the, yeah, do this one. Yes, this is done correctly. Now let us change it. We have applied this one. Now let us try this one. The alpha is still applied. We are just changing the color, and this is how we do it. We just single click on it. Now there are some settings that need to be done here, otherwise things will not work correctly. You guys will have some of these settings changed. It will have some angle jitter, it will have some position jitter and flow jitter. Then it will become something like this. So this is what we can do, but this is not what we want. So the position jitter need to be disabled, the angle jitter also need to be turned off, and flow jitter turned off. Only then it will give us this straight result. We can also erase it using the eraser tool, like that. We can also apply mask to eraser. Let us go to brush folder, presets, brushes. Let us use some interesting brush. Something like that. Yes, it will give us some interesting erasing. So that's how we use the paint layer. This is a paint layer, not a fill layer. I have also enabled the height for this layer. That is why it's giving this height detail. Let us apply more stickers. हाँ, इरेजर टूल है, हमें पेंट टूल सिलेक्ट करना है. अरे why is it not working still? वो रिवर्स हो गया था. वो कलर हमें टेक्सचर करना है और जो अल्फा है वो हमें अल्फा करना है. हाँ, वो रिवर्स हो गया. अब हो जाना चाहिए. देखते हैं. Let us see. We have selected the second layer. Yes, it has already taken it. Alpha हो गया apply. फिर से apply करके देखते हैं. Yes, it has done. Now let us change the color and let us try. It should work perfectly. Yes. Hang on. Something is wrong. Full color नहीं आ रहा है. Alpha में ये आ रहा है. इसलिए ऐसा हुआ था. ये color alpha में कैसे चला गया? Alpha में alpha होना चाहिए और color में color होना चाहिए. हाँ, अब होगा ठीक से. हाँ, अब हुआ ना? ठीक है. Now we have come to the end of our session. Any questions you guys can ask now. ID में bake करके देखो, वो try करके देखो. फिर कोई problem हो तो बताना.